Was somebody was playing something in the background. But good morning, everyone. This is Jared 011 Green. Another little quick episode of the Southern Baller Show. We're gonna talk about wrestling today. Of course, I have my brothers on Coast 67 Sports TV and JB, my usual guest when we talk about wrestling. What's going on with you, brothers?
I'm blessed and highly favored. How y'all brothers doing this morning?
Can't complain at all. Can't complain about nothing.
Man, I got my coffee and then chilling, man, on this wonderful, Saturday morning, man. Ready to talk about, black wrestlers, y'all fella.
All right, we gonna. So this past WrestleMania, Obafemi beat Brock Lesnar, so it seemed like the torch was passed as far as that dominant wrestler that would just run through everybody. That persona that Brock Lesnar had is being was passed down to Obafemi. But we was talking about behind the scenes, Coach. Are they gonna drop the ball? Especially when it happens with black wrestlers. Like Trick Williams won the United States title
From Sami Zayn at WrestleMania,
from Sami Zayn from WrestleMania. Same thing with him. Or like I didn't like how Jade Cargill lost the belt. You know what I mean? In WrestleMania. So I feel like they could have pushed her a little bit more. Or have her held the belt a little bit longer, but and it's not just black wrestlers. You do other the white counterparts of the other wrestlers of another race who had a good gimmick, and whether it was WWE or WWF at the time, but dropped the ball. You know what I mean? They didn't do a good job pushing. So,
yeah.
What's your opinion on this, Coach?
Well, first of all, like I said again, good morning to y'all, good brothers. Good morning to the chat. Good morning to everyone that's gonna come through later on and catch it on playback. Truthfully speaking, we talked about the history of WWE's poor booking of black wrestlers in particular, but I think they're synonymous for dropping the ball on wrestlers just in general. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. In my mind, I think someone like LA Knight should have been world champion at least a couple times already.
I agree.
In addition to that,
Agreed. I love LA Knight, bro.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This dude has superstar written all over him, but like they treating him like a mid carder when this dude is a main event player. And then in addition to that, they're using this behind the scenes show, like this WWE reality show, to kind of justify them botching his booking. And I'm like, man, this dude is a star. This dude is a superstar. Even if he not a Stone Cold Rock level star, a lot of people, that's one of the things they give pushback on. Like basically he like a carbon copy cosplay version of The Rock and Stone Cold blended together. I don't care what you say he is. This dude is a megastar, like his nickname is, his moniker is. He really is a megastar. But it's not just him. Individuals like Karrion Kross. This dude was the man in TNA. He come over to WWE. He's a star in the NXT. When he get to the main roster, they treat him like a jobber. And you got to realize when it comes to certain wrestlers, their people's first impression of them is going to determine like how far they go in the long run. But even with that being said, they constantly botched his booking when he got to the main roster. And I think that's one thing, certain critics of WWE have talked about over the years. Is like the things that made certain people stars in other promotions, or even in a developmental program, NXT, FCW, or wherever, the things that made them stars elsewhere, once they get to the main roster, they screw it up. And they synonymous for that. And they really, are known for just botching booking. So truthfully speaking, I don't have confidence that I'm honest, in my humble opinion, I think they're gonna blow Obafemi. I think they're gonna blow Trick Williams. I think they're gonna blow Carmelo Hayes. Going to your Jade Cargill point, I wish they'd have booked to be a champion for longer and stronger. But of course, when it comes to the WWE, I think they got to appeal to the primary white audience. And of course, Rhea Ripley is one of the darlings, just like Tiffany Stratton, and at one point Charlotte Flair. But I mean, you always have individuals that they're gonna misbook, not just the black wrestlers, but individuals like Chelsea Green should be getting better treatment than she's getting. So they synonymous for this. But let's go to the black wrestlers. We already laid the foundation in this series in terms of how they use black wrestlers as stereotypes or caricatures, like whether we're talking about Crime Time or Tony Atlas as Saba Simba, or
that was ridiculous.
Yeah, or even like the New Day. And the crazy thing about it is they tried to restructure Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods' contracts. They say, no, TKO, we're not going to let you structure our contract. So they released them. So they released the New Day, bro. So, I mean, that goes to show you they're all about money. So that's why we know, like, individuals like the Motor City Machine Guns weren't safe. Aleister Black, he wasn't safe. So, like, unless you, like, the tippity top guys, like the Roman Reigns of the world, Gunther's of the world, like, you are not safe in terms of potentially being released or let go once WrestleMania is over. So I think at the end of the day, I think, because even if you look at Trick Williams last night, first of all, leading up to WrestleMania, they really didn't have like a specific storyline for him going into WrestleMania. And they fast-tracked where Sami Zayn ended up taking a United States Championship away from Carmelo Hayes, which I was extremely against that, because I felt like Carmelo Hayes, it was long overdue for him getting the U.S. strap. And I felt like he should have been booked stronger. And even if you did, like, why can't two black wrestlers go against each other for the United States Championship on a big stage, whether it's WrestleMania, whether it's SummerSlam or wherever? Why couldn't that be a thing? So they fast-tracked it and they gave it to Sami Zayn. And then, the fans kind of defecated on that. So what they did was they fast-tracked, because the fans really behind Trick Williams. He really was supposed to be a heel or a bad guy. And the fans really, 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 really got behind this guy. So they fast-tracked it and they gave it to Trick Williams. And they gave Obafemi a huge win against Brock Lesnar. They officially put Brock Lesnar in the alumni section. So they insinuating that he's officially retired, even though, it's not really set in stone. It could be storyline. We don't know. But at the end of the day, like, they beat Jade Cargill with one of the resident darling sweethearts in Rhea Ripley. Also, like I said, they gave Trick Williams, a big win. Some people feel like it's a token win. They gave Obafemi a big win. A lot of people feel like it's a token win. But at the end of the day, I've seen too many instances, whether we're talking about the Street Profits, who, last year, year before last, whichever one it was, they were the tag team champions. They didn't even get a match during WrestleMania. They weren't featured prominently. So you have too many instances where you got tag team champions like the Street Profits who aren't featured prominently. You have a group or stable like the Hurt Business. Oh my goodness, bro! I was such
they fumbled the Hurt Business. Man.
Oh my goodness, they fumbled the Hurt Business in the worst way. And I kind of feel like what they do is, instead of the booking that black characters or black groups should get, it's like now in 2025, 2026, now that we in 2026, I think they take that same booking and they give it to Samoans. We really can't consider The Rock that, because he's half black, half Samoan. But a lot of the booking that black should get, like like the Usos, like Roman Reigns, like Jacob Fatu. Like some of that booking should be going to black wrestlers, but it's kind of like they almost treat Samoans as cosplay blacks. So what they do is the same booking that the Hurt Business should have got, they gave it to the Bloodline. And realistically, if they were smart and Vince McMahon was smart at the time, what he should have did was he should have kept the Hurt Business strong on Raw and let the Bloodline run wild on SmackDown, and then you could have put the Hurt Business and the Bloodline head to head. Man, I would have drew so much money, but they short-sighted when they come to these type of things. Just the way when they had the Wyatt family and the Shield, they could have drew big money with that, with them two factions going head to head, and maybe like a best of 5 type series or something like that. But either way, they're short-sighted. So when they come to booking black wrestlers, they really lean heavily in the stereotypes. Even last night with Trick Williams and this ongoing thing with Sami Zayn, Trick Williams had this gingerbread man that was kind of following him. I think it was him in another rap or somebody. I think it might have been the Baby or who, I can't remember what rap it was, trailing him or whatever. And basically, Sami Zayn snuck attack him and the gingerbread man or whatever after his United States Championship win celebration after WrestleMania. And what they did was Sami Zayn destroyed the gingerbread man. Well, one, he pretended to be the gingerbread man the first week after WrestleMania, and he attacked the rapper, and I think it was the Baby, if I'm not mistaken, and Trick Williams. And then after that, last week, Sami Zayn destroyed the gingerbread man, which is stupid to me. So last night they had a funeral for the gingerbread man, right? Which was dumb as hell. And it goes to show you how much charisma that Trick Williams has. So what they had been doing, they had been walking him out. He called it his lemon pepper steppers. I had a co-worker in my PE department that I used to work hand in hand with. She used to always call her shoes lemon pepper steppers too. But Trick Williams got these fly, like cowboy boots type dress shoes, that look fly as hell. He always wear some white ones like that, some white pants and a white fur coat or white mink or whatever. So last night they switched it up to all black, which they could have been doing the whole time anyway, switching up the colors. But I think they limited in their thinking. But in addition to that, what they did was they had a funeral for the gingerbread man, and of course, leaning in the typical black stereotypes. They had a black choir, they had a funeral, and I'm not gonna lie, I think the thing about it is he's so charismatic that he was able to get away with it and pull it off. But they lean so heavily into the stereotypes of the Black Baptist choir, the black funeral, and I'm thinking to myself, bro, this is so cringe. It's like, when it comes to black people, just minorities in general, they lean so heavily in the stereotypes that it's cringe-worthy. It makes me sick. The same way, like I said, they did it with Saba Simba or the New Day or Crime Time. When it comes to black people, they just can't get away from stereotypes. Like even, for example, when we talk about the street profits, Montez Ford. Montez Ford could be, he's a former military guy. I think he was in the Marines. He was decorated, this, that, and the third. Like he could kind of be a clean cut, like former military guy, or he could be like a clean cut, like Will Smith type cat. He another one. He should be a superstar at this point. Maybe he shouldn't be the world heavyweight champion, but at minimum, he could be intercontinental champion right now. And you don't have to have Montez Ford or his tag team partner. They don't have to turn on each other. They don't have to really go their separate ways. Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford be like, hey, bro, we had a good run, but we're gonna turn it to the faction of our own. Hey, they was in the Pride with Bobby Lashley. After they fumbled the Hurt Business, they put together the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley and B-Fab, and they made the Pride. What they could do is they could reform the Pride with the two of them being like the kind of leaders or the co-leaders, put B-Fab, put them with a tag team or whatever, and man, you could draw money with that too. But when it comes to the booking in 2026, it's short-sighted, it's trash. So that's why, examples of how they fumbled the Hurt Business is the reason why I have no confidence that they're gonna do the right thing when it comes to Overfemi, when it comes to Trick Williams, when it comes to Carmelo Hayes, when it comes to the Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. I mean, some of this stuff is easy and simple booking. But if you had real wrestling people instead of writers writing like they write for comedians, I think at the end of the day, I think their product would be much better. And TKO, it's kind of like now, because I'm gonna be honest with you, we talked about this too. We always talk about the WWE, but I feel like black wrestlers aren't booked any better in AEW or even TNA. It's just a different promotion because they talked about, hey, Swerve Strickland is the first black AEW World Heavyweight Champion, but guess what? You got Darby Allin as the world champion. Just imagine if you put Darby Allin right next to Bobby Lashley right now, even Shelton Benjamin. The two of them are like Andre Giant compared to Darby Allin. It's like, bro, what the hell are we doing? MJF being a world heavyweight champion, cool. Darby Allin, hell no. So at the end of the day, poor booking of black wrestlers. It's not just the WWE thing. It's a professional wrestling thing. Same thing, even though we used to love WCW since, we in South Louisiana. Of course, you always had people that would like WCW over WWE or vice versa. But, Ron Simmons was the first black world heavyweight champion. He only got one run. He could have got multiple runs with the belt. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day,
Facts.
When it comes to the booking of black wrestlers, to
You
me,
remember Doom with Farouk and
Butch Reed.
Butch Reed. They should have had a harder push too.
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, I think booking of black wrestlers is just a microcosm of the society we live in. Even us being LDBC family members, you know what I'm saying? Even somebody like Wilder. I mean, wrestling is predetermined, so they're not gonna let a black wrestler be super dominant and reign supreme the way the Hurt Business could have reigned over the WWE when they was at the top. Anytime actual legitimate sport, they did everything they could to cheat Deontay Wilder and let Tyson Fury, just cheat him and do whatever. So if that's actual legitimate sport where they cheated our brother and they did everything they could to make sure that the white man win by any means necessary, what you think they're going to do in a predetermined sport like professional wrestling where the outcome is scripted and it's predetermined? So at the end of the day, it's just a microcosm of the society we live in.
Oh, it's accurate. And like you said, this is nothing new. You remember the talents before this current talent, like Shelton Benjamin, R-Truth, which he had a good, decent push in TNA, but still, not enough. JB, that's down your alley as far as wrestling. I know you're not really up on the new. Well, you like a certain, but you are, like you said, you're an expert when it comes to like the R-Truth and Shelton Benjamins back in the day. What's the difference between is it anything has changed? Or is
No,
it
I
same old,
think
same old?
same old. Coach hit it out the park. Like he brought up like the Hurt Business, and we can go back as far as, and we talked about. I know we talked about the situation with the Nation of Domination, but the Nation of Domination should have got more push. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then even Vince McMahon told this to Ahmad Johnson that he had to break them up because who was gonna beat Ahmad Johnson, Farouk, Rock, D'Lo Brown? Who was gonna realistically beat
Mark
them
Henry,
up?
yeah.
Mark Henry. Who was gonna realistically beat them? So I mean that's done on purpose as far as strategically, you know, breaking, the groups up and not getting no push. I mean, and you guys talk about Shelton Benjamin, our truth been the talent for a long time. And
Yes.
they push him as like a mental patient, you know what I'm saying? Somebody
Correct.
that's weird and one night I seen him coming down to the ring in the Confederate, you know what I'm saying, when they was in South
I remember
Carolina
that.
in the Confederate like outfit, soldier
No, yeah,
outfit,
he was dressed like a
talking to himself.
no,
Yeah.
he was dressed like a Confederate general. And when we talk about, I don't mean to cut you off, JB. I'm gonna let you cook,
Go
bro.
ahead. No,
But
no, no. Go ahead.
but basically what you were saying, he is another one that they use him as a caricature. And, like you said, they paint him like he has mental health issues, like he's extremely deranged and delusional. So even if you look at the modern product, before they let go the New Day, the New Day, R-Truth. So it's like, why? I mean, just think about it. The New Day coming to the ring, with uh, Xavier Woods playing a trombone, Kofi Kingston with a unicorn horn, on the
and
front, all of them
Biggie,
dressed in rainbow colors. They shaking, they
bro,
gyrating. The New Day rocks, with booty old cereal, throwing flapjacks into the crowd, pancakes in the crowd, booty old cereal in the crowd. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, why does black wrestlers in the WWE have to be a minstrel show? Sambo, buck licking, buck dancing, boot licking Uncle Tom. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing?
bro, man, it's just great. They been doing it for a while, man. And, going back to rest in peace, brother, James Harris,
Oh,
Kamala,
there, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And Safa Simba, whatever his name is, that was stupid. Even Farouk came out the ring with that stupid helmet on. You know what
With
I'm saying?
a sport, a African Roman Spartan. What the man? That don't even make sense, bro. That's stupid as hell.
Bro, bro. I mean, they've been doing that for a while since the inception. You know what I'm saying? Where you got off the wall. You just think about Coco Beware. Coco Beware got the parrot hair, and then he come to the ring with
The
the parrot, and
Birdman.
he do the Birdman. And as we enjoyed, come to think about it, all the old school records, we enjoyed it back then, but now that shit was stupid. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the brother Coco Beware. They saying
Hey, they
in real
never
life
really
he
gave
a
him
good dude.
yeah, but they really never gave him a like serious push. He was more of a
Right.
like, you know,
A jobber.
yeah.
A popular jobber. You know what I'm saying? He was like the hurricane. You know what I'm saying? You know. But yeah, man, just thinking about it, man, this is a very good topic because you thinking about it, man. They've been doing this since its inception in wrestling, man. So from then to now, ain't shit changed, man. And hopefully, like you said, the brother beat retired um, Brock Lesnar. So hopefully, we're gonna see how much push he gets. Seems like the crowd likes him. You know what I'm saying? He got this I want to say this African, warrior type of get up. So we're gonna see, how far that takes him. Excuse me. Hopefully they don't have him do something stupid like King Booker and shit like that, bro. Like I like Booker. The character of Booker T is cool. You know what I'm saying? Harlem Heat, that was fire. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, Harlem Heat was fire. But then when he started doing that King Booker and shit, nah, bro, that shit was stupid, bro.
No, well, what about when he made his transition from WCW to WWE, right? And he had
Yeah,
a good run, and then he had a chance to fight Triple H or wrestle Triple H for the championship, and then the
WrestleMania.
thank you, WrestleMania, and then Triple H put in his racist dialogue saying, "Man like you can't beat a man like me," and Booker T never won the WWE title. You know what I mean?
and
So
He won the world title, but it ain't the same.
it ain't the same. Exactly, it's not the
and
same.
that's staggering, man. Because you're not gonna sit there and tell me that HBK is a better wrestler than Booker T.
You
That's
know,
impossible. Physically, it's impossible. No, you know, the super kick is a good finisher, but that's it. That's it. You know, and this is somebody who watched him and his brother, wrestle.
We can go back into the late 80s and 90s with Kurt Hennig, right? Not just
Yeah,
like you said, not just black. Like he was known to be a dominant IC in the Continental Championship. How many runs do you remember where Kurt Hennig holding the WWE title for long? Because his gimmick was awesome. Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect. Yes, do everything perfect. Yes, perfect slam. Yeah,
So if they do it with the white wrestlers, what you think they gonna like Coach said, what you think they're gonna do with the black wrestlers? It's crazy.
And just to kind of touch on Obafemi again, you know, he's legitimately, I don't know if he's from, I think he's from Lagos, Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken, but he's legitimately, of African descent. And, JB is right. He does have like this, they call him the ruler. He's this African warrior type general. I mean, this African warrior type guy. And he's stretched to the ring kind of like Ric Flair, but it's his own version of it. And, I ain't like he has this aura about him. And since he beat Brock Lesnar, instead of maybe them kind of capitalizing on the moment, I guess they're trying to slow play it. But I'm gonna keep it a buck. I feel like they're gonna screw it up. You know what I'm saying? But right now, he is the Obafemi challenge where different people come out every week and he beat the brakes off him, which I think is cool, kind of Goldberg like. But in all actuality, you got to realize he already lost the NXT Championship to Ricky Saints. And on top of that, he got this thing going. He has some momentum. But are they gonna keep the ball rolling? Or are they gonna fumble it like usual? And I think eventually they're gonna fumble it.
Man, I hate to say it, man. They because that Obafemi gimmick is awesome. You know what I mean? Uh, what was the other big African wrestler? What was the also
yeah, I know what
Almost.
you're talking about.
It's almost.
Almost.
almost? What happened to his push? They was trying to
Well, you
put
gotta
it.
realize it's to the point now where WWE just don't own uh WWE. They own like other like territories and stuff, and they own AAA wrestling now. So what they did was, I'm not gonna lie, from an in-ring standpoint, he just wasn't progressing. Being a giant in real life and being a giant that's a good wrestler. That's why individuals like Andre the Giant and Paul White, they were great big men. Almost I don't know if he's just not trained enough or he's just not that coordinated or that athletic, but basically it wasn't really moving. So what they did was, they let him do appearances for AAA here and there, but for the most part, like he never really came around from a training standpoint.
Okay. Yeah, so he was like basically what's the Indian wrestler? That's a giant.
Oh, you talking about the Great Khali?
Yeah, he wasn't the
Even
Great
Giant
Khali wasn't
Gonzalez type.
really.
He
Yeah.
was still.
Yeah. He like that's like great examples in terms of the Great Khali or Giant Gonzalez, what his name, Jorge, whatever. He was in WCW as El Gigante. He was Giant Gonzalez in the WWF. So yeah, y'all right. That's like perfect examples. So what they do is they kind of use him as a feature attraction every blue moon in AAA. There's some kind of battle royal where, him being with 7'3", 7'4", like he was up against like a literally legit midget, and he just squashed the midget. I mean, it was a good visual, but I guess he has a huge contract and they really don't want him on screen in WWE. At best, he would be a good bodyguard. So what they did was they have him as a feature attraction, like in AAA every blue moon.
Okay. What up, Big Reg? He said, "What up, everybody? Appreciate you coming by, man. Uh, salute to keep it up, fam." He said, "Pro wrestlers were created to build the Great White Hope, and that will never change. They need their heroes in pro wrestling to give them exactly that. Black athletes will get over after climbing up the belt." And he said, "Collector ladder or injury outside of it's an African, Nigerian, Jamaican, or even British black athlete. The real question is, what will it take for African Americans such as Montez Ford to finally get his heavyweight champion run, because he's the best out there, including best out of all of them, including Obafemi. The answer here is Ring of Honor, which is owned by Master P and ran by Amazing Red.
So basically,
He's saying we need to push the Ring of Honor. Like, we need to support them. Okay. That's Master P got behind that wrestling promotion. Okay. That's interesting, man. That's interesting. And I agree. Montez Ford and Coach were just saying that earlier before you hopped on. Keeping up, fam. Montez Ford is one of the ones that are not being that they're fumbling.
basically he's the Shelton Benjamin in this area. The
Yeah.
young Shelton Benjamin.
No, I'm not gonna lie. The only limitation Shelton Benjamin had was, they said he wasn't a great talker. I think he was good enough, and even if you put him with a manager, especially like somebody like MVP, that's why to me the Hurt Business was so great in the WWE, and why I feel like they underutilized in AEW right now is the Hurt Syndicate. But Montez Ford can talk. Montez Ford has charisma on par with Trick Williams. So I think Montez Ford, he another one. He could have been a mega star had they, pushed him the right way, but they never did. And the Street Profits now, we speak, they start, they push, they start, they push. They go on a little run. They have been off for a long time. And the crazy thing about it, they didn't even have him at WrestleMania, but they had his wife, Bianca Belair. And basically her big announcement was Hunt and Montez Ford is expecting a child. And I'm thinking to myself, night one of WrestleMania, that was the biggest moment. So that goes to show you that night one of WrestleMania was complete trash, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, y'all right. They definitely mishandled and mismanaged and haven't booked the Street Profits nor Montez Ford properly,
Yeah, man.
Man,
I think you talking about House of Glory. That's what what Master P is behind.
Yeah, because
Ring of Honor is owned by Tony Khan.
Tony Khan, yeah, because he on Ring of Honor and he on AEW.
Yeah. So Amazing Red owns that. I mean, it's the founder of that, and Master P is the owner.
I gotta look into that.
Yeah, I got to see if they still. Yeah, they still going strong too. You got the Hardy Boys doing the meet and greet and stuff. Yeah, so they still going strong. So that's certain. And thank you for that, keeping up, fam. That's certain promotion we may need to look into. Salute Big Joe, Big Joseph Townsend. Salute to the family. What's going on? It's the Hillside Bourbon Company. Speaking of
Yes,
Hillside
Lord.
Bourbon, old Hillside Bourbon Company. If you're interested in having something, bourbon or whiskey around the house or something for guests, or even you want to buy it as a gift for family members. Matter of fact, since Mother's Day is tomorrow, heck, you can go there. Your mom, if your mom like, bourbon or whiskey, buy her a bottle. You can go to this website. This is black owned, so please support. Yeah, man, but it seems like it's an evolving door, and it's crazy, man. Another thing is, like we were just on the storylines. The storylines needs to be better to help improve a lot of the black wrestlers, because it seems like the storylines, like you said, buffoonery, like with the New Day, or um, we go back a day of Saba Simba, which Saba, I ain't gonna lie, I don't feel sorry for Tony Atlas for that, because he signed up for that. He said, I'll do it. That was crazy. That's how the Hardy Boys got on Kai's in this live stream. It was through the Connector Master P through the House of Glory. Yeah.
And I mean, the thing about with WWE with the storyline, that's what I was talking about. Instead of having like bookers, having writers, I mean, the storylines are just trash. I mean, it's not just bad booking for black wrestlers. Like, it's bad booking across the board. Like I say, I mean, you got individuals like Karrion Kross who could have been like a bigger star. Like I said, LA Knight. So it's not just with black wrestlers, it's really with everybody, if you ask me. I mean, I think that's the reason why the product is not what it was, and especially since TKO has taken over. It's kind of like AEW is like wrestling centered, whereas WWE, they're all about the money. That's why they tried to restructure the New Day contract, and Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods walk. So right now it's all about money, trying to get as much money. I mean, just think about it. Anytime a wrestler get a table and put the table out and put the other wrestler through the table, you got Slim Jims like logos on each end of the table. I'm like, bro, how obvious can y'all make it that y'all trying to sell us stuff? You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you know, when you have so much wrestling content and you got so much wrestling content to write, you can kind of water down and dilute your product. So you got Raw, you got SmackDown, you got NXT. It's like, bro, you got all these hours of WWE content and you getting billions and billions of dollars. And at the end of the day, it's like your product is so watered down and so diluted. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's another issue too. But I think if they had like legit wrestling people, like wrestling bookers, as opposed to like comedy writers or just writers or whatever, I think their product would be better if you had actual wrestling people that really was behind the product, that was booking and setting up these storylines and so on and so forth.
Yeah, like because of bad or mediocre storylines will have wrestlers, black wrestlers, you know, thrown by the wayside. Like you remember Elijah Burke, you know what I mean? He was a talent, but
Yeah,
he
yeah,
didn't get the push.
yeah, and he another example. He could have been ECW.
Elijah Burke, man, I remember him.
Yeah, I mean he could have easily been ECW champion. Right now he's in NWA. You know, I used to rock with Elijah Burke heavy. You know, shout out to him. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and you remember Monty Brown?
Yeah, when he came to ECW, they made him Marcus Corvin.
Yeah,
He another
Marcus
one.
Covan. Yeah.
Yeah, he should have been TNA World Heavyweight Champion, but they kept giving the belt to Jeff Jarrett. I'm like, bro, Monty
His
Brown.
old ass.
I ain't gonna lie, Monty Brown was oozing charisma, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when he had a little run in WWE, well, he was called Alpha Male or something like that.
No, he was an alpha male even in TNA, but
Yeah, he was. Yeah, you're right.
I'm not gonna lie, he should have been the world champion in TNA. I mean, and when he was in WWE and ECW, WWE, basically, I think his sister died or whatever, and he was raising his little niece or nephew or whatever, and he just never came back to wrestling. I think they say right now he's a personal trainer and he has his own gym, so on and
That's
so
good.
forth. But he another one. I ain't gonna lie, I used to rock with him heavy in them TNA days. He should have been world heavyweight champion at least a few times at TNA. You know, I mean
Yeah, definitely.
he was so charismatic. You know, he was just that dude to me.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Them dudes were a talent. J Ball, what's up? Salute the family in chat. Appreciate you coming by. 86 Ghosts in here, my brother. Yes,
What's up,
sir.
fellas? What's up?
Appreciate y'all coming by. All dope content creators, by the way. Big Red, 86 Ghosts. Y'all make sure y'all support. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all remember Too Cold Scorpio. Yeah, he another one. You know, he had some good runs, but he wasn't pushed. He was known as a high flyer in
Oh, I mean he
WCW and the early WWE days, man. But
and
he
and,
the push.
and ECW, he was, I think he was TV
ECW
champ.
too.
I think he was TV champion in ECW. The highest he got. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, he was the man. And to me, he really was like the first, like super high flyer. My in terms of being innovative, like this dude did like a 450 leg drop. I'm like, man, this dude is off the chain. The highest he got was he was in WCW. Brad Windham was the WCW international world heavyweight champion, and he on Clash of the Champions, him and Two Cold Scorpio had a great match. But of course, Barry Windham won, and he never became a world champion.
Same old song, man. And he was a talent, man. I remember Too Cold Scorpio. He was literally cold. He was cold, man. As far as his talent, he was good. Um, Keep It Up fam said it will never be diluted based on their ability to draw. Hold on, because he's writing paragraphs and parts. So let me get. So New Day are going to AEW. They are already building the storyline of for them versus the Young Bucks. The question is, will they remain a tag team or join the Hurt Syndicate? He said it will never be diluted based on their ability to draw interest to the characters. People like to look at the women, and CM Punk is larger than life, along with Roman Reigns, as long as this is the case. Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, he was ahead of his time, Big Red. Two Cold Scorpio. A lot of people don't know that what on the younger days, what the Hardy Boys was doing back in the Gap. That's what Two Cold Scorpio was already doing. Okay, 86 will say I'm in Richmond for two few reviews right now. Okay, I definitely will watch. Definitely watch the replay. Keep it up, fam. He said they will always generate the numbers. They're a diverse group of interest based on the fandom. The Rock and John Cena can pop up anytime to give them a boost. Yep, and that's what the thing about WWE. They established so many, like Keep It Up fam said, the Rocks, the Stone Colds, the even the owner Triple H. All they had to do was pop up on the show, and the fan bases, they got low fan base. No matter how many trash shows or trash storylines, I mean WWE. They had a lot of talent pass through there. But unfortunately, we're talking about the talent, especially the black talent they fumbled over the years. It's crazy, man. It's definitely crazy. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting how they. I'm definitely gonna be watching AEW to see how the New Day, if they still gonna, if the New Day is gonna evolve, if they're gonna go from that shucking and jiving to, like you said, something more serious, which it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, and of course,
Man,
somebody like me, think that's an interesting idea in terms of having them join the Hurt Syndicate. Man, if the New Day joined the Hurt Syndicate, and it was me, man, they have all the belts. You know what I'm saying? But of course, that's me thinking as a black man, what somebody white in this, predominant white society want, five black wrestlers having all the belts in a promotion. I
Mm.
don't think we'll ever see that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I unfortunately have to agree with you. Um, the watcher, said late, but the answer is better writers. The WWE would rather release a wrestler than release a writer that come up with the stuff. Yeah, yeah, that's crazy, man. And did y'all know? You remember? Rest in peace to Patrice O'Neal. Patrice O'Neal, he was a comedian, one of the underground, like one of those comedians that didn't give up. Like he was of the ilk of the Corey Holcombs or the Louis C.K. Very dark comedy. And but he told a story about Stephanie McMahon hired him as a writer. And the only reason why he quit because he was doing comedy full time. So but Stephanie McMahon loved him, so and he was a good writer. So I say that to say this, man. A lot of it is in the writing. Ida Watch is very correct. A lot of it is not necessarily the wrestler, and I believe the wrestlers are taking the bullet for bad writing. They're the sacrificial lamb. Keep It Up Fam said, you mean like Coco Beware? He didn't have the JB just mentioned Coco Beware. Yep. He didn't have the look they wanted, but pound for pound, he was the best wrestler during. Yeah, he was very talented.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie. In his Memphis days, he was known to be one of the, even if you look at throughout all the different, all the different, regional wrestling promotions all across the country, he was considered to be one of the best, like, talents in ring, bar none. And of course, WWE was so cartoony in the 80s that they couldn't just let him be Coco Ware from Memphis, because people don't realize how great in ring he was, in like the early to mid 80s before he came to the WWF. You know what I'm saying? So if you go back and look at some of his old Memphis stuff, man, this dude was a phenomenal in ring talent. But of course, like JB was saying, when he got to the WWF, they made him the Birdman. They gave him the Parrot. He dyed his hair, and he shucking and jiving.
Stupid.
Yeah. So
stupid.
And I mean, even if we talk about how racist WCW was, even with that, if you look at a lot of the talents that they booked in WCW compared to WWE, even if we talk about Booker T was just a straight-laced, athletic, cool black dude in WCW. He come to WWF, he King Booker, and he a caricature. You know what I'm saying? Like a African British king. I'm like, man, what the hell is this, bro? I mean, like JB was saying, at the time, you're like, oh, it's cool, but looking back at it, it's like, man, that's cringy as hell. You know what I'm saying?
Now we're adults, and we got more, discernment now that we're older. You're like, yeah, that shit was stupid. Right. Ida Watch said the Hurt Syndicate needs younger members, and having the New Day to join them makes no sense. Okay. Patrice O'Neal is the original Red. That dude has story for days. Yes. Yeah, I can listen to Patrice O'Neal stories all day long. Him, Freeze Love, my girl Cece, in the they're associated with LDBC. Yes, you date them. I can listen to their stories all day long.
Yeah. Hey, and that was an interesting point. They were saying that was the reason why they brought Cedric Alexander into the Hurt business when it was in WWE. But me, in terms of me bringing in the New Day, I mean, they got younger guys, but would they really fit into the, New Day? It was kind of like, just give you an example, right? Remember when they brought Owen Hart into the Nation of Domination? I mean, Owen Hart, I liked him as a wrestler, but hell, he didn't really fit into the Nation of Domination.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, if we say the New Day and the Hurt Syndicate really don't fit together, cool. I'm just looking at it from a black person perspective, just having a faction that could just completely dominate and completely run, an all-black faction that could completely dominate a wrestling promotion. I'm looking at it from that point of view and that perspective.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. How my brother JD6, another dope content creator. What's up, man? He said, "Howdy, what's going on?" I had to watch that Coco B. Will was over in both Memphis and WCCW. You know who else was over in Memphis? Y'all remember Iceman King Parsons? He was another one that was over in that Memphis territory back
Man,
in the
he was over in world class. I mean, he was the. I think he beat, if I'm not mistaken, I think he beat Kerry Von Erich for the World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, he cheated to get it, but I didn't care. I'm not gonna lie, I used to rock with the Iceman King Parsons.
Yeah, man. And he there interviews on YouTube with Iceman King Parsons where he said Kerry Von Erich loved him, man. But he had to deal with some the hater Jerry the King Lawler because that's his Memphis territory, so he was a little bit jealous. But we all know, we heard stories of Jerry the King Lawler being racist anyway, so I wasn't surprised when I heard it. I had to watch you say AEW has a big roster and they are not even using half of their roster. Yeah, that's the only thing with because they're another one that they have wrestlers just sitting on the fence and not using them. They could, I ain't gonna lie, AEW, if they get more, I think what it is, I watcher, and you may watch more AEW more than me. I dabble into it because I like some of the wrestlers. But from what I observe is they need more writers as well. They need more writers because they can actually compete with WWE if they just use their roster. They got
have
a lot of
another
talent
Monday
in their
Night
roster.
War. They
But
need another Monday Night War.
But this the issue with that. You got to realize Tony Khan is the owner. He does all the booking himself, so he would need actual bookers. I don't think he's willing to give up. He's willing to give up control. Like, he's driving the car, and
he need to humble himself, man.
Yeah, he's not equipped to drive. Instead of getting like an old school guy that might not be doing a podcast right now. I mean, you got guys like Arn Anderson and Stevie Richards or whoever. If you get one of them type of guys that's not doing content in terms of social media, YouTube, whatever, and you let that particular guy do all your booking, I think he'll be fine. But he's not willing to give up that. I mean, that's the reason why. I mean, basically, you got to realize his daddy, Shad Khan, owns the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah,
billionaires. So this is like a toy. This is like a project for him. I mean, if it really came down to, kind of like Dixie Carter. Dixie Carter parents pissed away millions on TNA for her. You know what I'm saying? It never really turned a profit. And honestly, yeah, AEW getting deals, but is AEW really making a profit for Tony Khan? And not only that, would he be if him relinquishing control and getting an actual booker to book the shows or whatever, if that was to take it to the next level, would he be willing to give it up and do it? I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it as well, man. Keeping It Up fam said Hulk Hogan had a problem with Booker T winning the belt. The rest didn't including Vince Russo. It was Hogan's selfishness that ultimately killed the momentum of WCW. That, along with celebrities and yeah.
No, I think that finger poke of doom, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. WCW did a lot of stuff that really pretty much ended WCW, but that finger poke of doom, man, that was bad.
Can I say, and rest in peace to Ted Turner. But if Ted Turner, in my opinion, Ted Turner, because he just, and that's what that's what I didn't like and liked about Ted Turner. He just gave the power to the Eric Bischoff and the other people that was over WC and say, hey, y'all do what y'all do. I'm not gonna micromanage you. Y'all don't fuck it up. And then they did. So, in my opinion, Ted Turner would have just peeped his head, been a little bit nosy, and saw what was going on, and probably Hulk Hogan would have been fired, man, or WCW would have been saved. That's my opinion. I could be completely wrong, but just my
Well,
assessment.
I think when Eric Bischoff hired Hulk Hogan, Hulk Hogan was a huge star in the WWF, and I think the thing about it was they gave him too much creative control, and they pretty much let him run wild. And so it wasn't the fact that he let Hulk Hogan do whatever. That was part of Hulk Hogan's contract. So Hulk Hogan would flex often, and that's how he had the whole fiasco with Vince Russo and Hulk Hogan and Jeff Jarrett and Booker T. So yeah, it was up to Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan would have got the title that night instead of Booker T. I think it was the best thing for WCW moving forward. But at that point, so much trash, garbage stuff had happened with WCW. I think they already were on their last leg, and that was in their dying days anyway.
During when Hulk Hogan took over, when he was in leadership in WCW, one of the best things he did was he efficiently let Harlem Heat be a tag team. Because Ric Flair would have fumbled Stevie Ray and Booker T.
Oh yeah, big facts. I mean, he vouched for him, but you got to realize he really didn't have creative control from the standpoint he was on a booking committee, but he had a lot of what he said kind of went a lot. You know what I'm saying? That's like kind of like me being a head coach and y'all two the star players on the team, and if y'all don't come to practice, y'all show up late, y'all leave early, y'all do what y'all want. So y'all will have a lot of carte blanche in that situation. So that's how I kind of was with Hulk Hogan. It wasn't the fact that he had, he was on a booking committee, he was a part of creative or whatever. He wasn't. He just had a lot of carte blanche from the
Yeah,
standpoint
he
of.
did because you're right, because he told leadership. He said those two are your best.
That's your
And
best
Stevie
tag team.
Ray, Stevie Ray has an interview confirming this too. He said those two are your best tag team. Why aren't y'all giving them a push?
Yeah. So they kind of, they valued his opinion in the fact that he was the biggest star there. He got a lot of leeway and he was able to say a lot, do a lot, just that and the third. But that was definitely an excellent point. But the only thing I was saying is he really didn't have creative control outside of his character, but he had a lot of, carte blanche and a lot of say and a lot of freedom, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Yeah, and let me get to these comments. Keeping Up Fam said matches that they had no business being in. That's what's hurting the momentum in WWE and why they're switching to AEW. He's talking about New Day. And
Well, no, well, what it was TKO was so greedy, the greedy corporation that they are. They first of all they mismanaged them because when they turned on Big E, they was hot as fish grease, and instead of keeping that momentum going, they let the momentum die, right? And then after that, they mismanaged them. They booked them poorly or whatever the case may be, and they're such a greedy corporation. What they did was they stepped to them with them asking them to restructure their contract and take less money, and they was like, "Nah, we're not doing it. We just signed a brand new contract." On our contract, and it was like, well, we're willing to give you a release. They were like, cool. So they walked away. So that's the reason why they're no longer there.
facts. Keeping a Fan said Booker T carries WCW until they decided to do multiple belt switches in 2000 and 2001. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I agree with that. Booker T was one of the reasons why, especially when he became champion, um, WCW stood afloat as long as they did.
Yeah, and I think that another reason why WCW failed is because real quick is because the NWO thing was great, but when you start having NWO white,
Wolfpack.
black, and red Wolfpack, it started getting out of control.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it.
That's true.
The fact that Eric Bischoff really had no real creative way to end that storyline and transition to something else. That was a huge issue. And they kept having so many iterations of the NWO. And then it got to the point where not just the NWO having like multiple factions within the NWO, like you said, the NWO Hollywood, which was the NWO red and white, and then you got the NWO Wolfpack, which is the NWO red and black. Then next thing you know, you got the LWO with the Latinos with Eddie Guerrero and Rey
Yeah,
Mysterio. and all the
Vampiro and yep, yep,
and I'm
yep,
saying to
yep, yep.
myself, bro, like, how many different little factions y'all got? So, from a creative standpoint, I think had you had like an old school traditional booker, I mean, don't get me wrong, he stumbled upon a gold mine with the whole NWO angle. But since he wasn't a wrestling guy, he really didn't know how to bring it to the end. He just kept going
Right.
back to it because it was so hot at one point, you know.
That's you said that perfectly. They had something good. The NWO, that was probably one of the best factions ever. I don't think the WWE had anything better than the NWO. That was fantastic. Kevin Nash,
Generation X was all right, but I agree. NWO, in my opinion, was better.
NWO was the shit, bro. You had Razor Ramon was probably one of my favorite with that toothpick disrespecting the shit at you, throwing it at you. Then you had X Pac, man. It wasn't nobody fucking with them, bro.
Oh no, I ain't gonna lie. Harlan Nash, that invasion storyline, I think that's the best storyline probably in professional wrestling history. But the fact that he wasn't a real booker or a real guy that really put together storylines and stuff like that, you know, he really didn't know how to end it. And then not only that, but you got all the greedy guys like Hogan that really was only instead of looking out for the best interests of the product and the best interests of the company, they just were looking out for their own individual interests. And things like that, you know, all the backbiting and all the politics and stuff like that, you know, it helped kind of bring WCW to their demise at the end. And the finger poking,
Agreed.
all of that stuff, that was not all of that was nonsense, you know.
Yeah, it
Agreed.
was. Yeah, it definitely was. Let me finish reading these comments. So, Ida Watch said, Iceman King Parsons stood on business as he left Crockett over them not want to push black talent. Yeah, I remember him doing the interview. Yeah, I respect Iceman Parsons for that, man. Ida Watcher said Tony does not want to give up the power as he's still writing for AEW and ROH. Yep. Yep. And Booker T was over and should have been pushed sooner into the world title picture. Yeah, he should have. It was not just Hogan, but others like Kevin Nash and some of the older talent did not want younger talent to outshine them. That is true.
That's an excellent point.
Very excellent point. Uh, that's why Tony Khan took ownership over control of wrestling because wrestlers will always do what's in their own interest. Alex Wright, who was from Germany, was picked to win the title, but was passed. Yeah, I remember Alex Wright. Yeah, he definitely should have got a push, man.
Well, Alex Wright started off with a push with his WCW.
Yeah, he started. Yeah, let me correct that. He started off with a push, but they didn't finish. They didn't finish, man. The New Day turned was a great opportunity to push the New Day in a new direction, and WWE messed it up. Yeah, and Coach fell off because I think what was the thunderstorm going. He'll hop back on. Ida Watcher said New Japan ended in NWO Japan in a great way as they ended up producing new stars that helped carry the company. Later on, Scott Steiner was the standout of the NWO. Yeah, he did join NWO, man, and he was a great talent. He definitely was. Keeping up, fam said over because of Hogan and Ric Flair. Um, when you don't develop talent to take over the company, dies. Lizzie Rain, who is the niece of Clyde Burr from Iron Maiden, will end up taking the over the women's division. In WWE, they already preparing the next Rhea Ripley. Oh Lord. Yeah, man, this is just examples of just these companies, this WWE mainly will Dropped the ball and great talent. Period. Coach, did you have anything to say, man? When you dropped off?
Oh no. I got a call. That's what ended up happening. But what I was saying was, when spam calls knocked me out. But anyway, what I was saying was, Alex Wright did start off with a huge push in WCW. He never became world champion. But I think the issue with Tony Khan is he kind of gave the young bucks his EVPs. He gave them too much control too. They was running wild at 1.2. I think that's why they had so much issues with Kenny Omega and the young bucks having issues with CM Punk or whatever, and it just was too much going on. And I think that's part of the reason why he ended up getting into it with Jack Perry, and eventually ended up leaving AEW to go back to WWE. So they have the issues with politics and people having control behind the scenes also. So it wasn't just WCW. I think every promotion, no promotion is really exempt from that. Truthfully speaking,
Facts. 86 Ghost said WCW actually failed because just like the show SWAT Cats. Yeah, I remember SWAT Cats. Ted Turner was trying to present his channels as a family and child friendly, so he canceled anything that could be seen as risky. WCW was beating rating beat WWE for almost a year straight. Yeah, that's another thing. WCW was beating
83
WWF
weeks.
at the time. Ass.
83 weeks.
Yes, sir. Alex Wright had fans from Jim Barnett crew, according to Kevin Sullivan.
Basically, he a tambourine player,
Oh, Lord. Ah, okay.
Because, Jim Barnett was a popular booker. He owned the territory, and, they said he was batting on the opposite side of the plate, So that's all they're saying. He was a fan of his in terms of the way he booking. Just like there was alleged rumors that Vince McMahon was kind of fetishized Shawn Michaels, and that was part of the reason why he pushed him the way he did also. No validity in a lot of these comments. I mean, in a lot of these things or whatever. But, of course, you got individuals like Pat Patterson and Jim Barnett. They was on the opposite side of the plate,
Yeah, I'm aware. Yeah, that's crazy. But fellas, man, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, man. Just wanted to hop on here and talk about this topic. Just talk about a little wrestling and just a lot of talent that these companies, especially WWE, is dropping the ball on, man. It's crazy. But Coach, let everybody know where they can meet you and see you, man. Coach dropped off. I think he got a call.
But yeah, man, we cooked today, man.
Yes, we
You
did,
know what I'm
man.
saying?
I appreciate everyone who's able to take their time out their morning. Now it's going into the afternoon to just see what we talking about. I appreciate all y'all. 86 Ghosts, I the Watcher, Keep It Up Fam, Big Reg, J the Six, J Bar, who else? Brent Fox, Joseph Townsend, all y'all, man. Even the people that catch the replay, I appreciate all y'all. Coach, let everybody know where they can meet you and see you.
Well, I'm probably gonna do a live stream, maybe about an hour and a half or whatever, and then after that, I'm gonna be on Swag Talk at 2:00 with the brother C Wells. Y'all come through, check us out, and then of course I'll be back here 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow for the normal edition of the Southern Baller Show, where we talk about David Benavidez. We talk about Daniel Dubois, and we talk about a little NFL action, UFL action, whatever.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And of
Yes,
course,
sir.
salute to the awesome and amazing LDBC, you dig?
Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button, share, subscribe if you haven't done so. I the watcher said, indeed, I need to rewatch the show as I came in later. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. for you still coming in. And our Lord Cuter fans say, go Tigers and hi Ed Reed. I hear you, man. But I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a blessed rest of your weekend. Y'all be blessed.
Peace.